Hello everyone, my name is Sheryl, and I'm part of the global 1 for 50 movement. We desire to equip people like you to reach, disciple, and empower the next generation. During this season of lockdowns and of restrictions because of the global pandemic, everybody has had to deal with losses or with changes or with added stresses in their lives. And children are not immune to those losses and those stresses. It can have a deep, deep impact upon them. When you think about traumatic experiences, some of them are caused by environmental things like earthquakes, floods, fires, sicknesses, pandemics, or even death. But other traumas are deliberately caused by humans, and they include things like war, riots, robberies, sexual and physical abuse. When children experience a trauma, it can overwhelm their capacity to cope with their thoughts, with their feelings, or even the physical changes that are happening in their body or the things that are happening around them. And it can leave children feeling helpless and out of control. When trauma occurs in the life of a child, they experience a lot of different kinds of losses. Some of those losses are physical losses. It might be a loss of their health. It might be the loss of some of their basic needs, food, rest. It might be loss of home or loss of family members. But many of the losses children deal with touch them at far deeper emotional level. It might be the loss of trust in other human beings, or adults especially. It might be a loss of innocence or of self-worth. It can be a loss of that feeling of security or safety or hope for the future. And in some cases, it is even a loss of faith in God. And if the trauma that happens to a child is caused by another person, the closer that relationship is between the perpetrator and the child, the more deeply the child is going to feel the trauma or be hurt or damaged. So what should we look for to recognize when trauma has occurred in a child? Because children do not know how to process the effects of their traumatic experiences, and because they may even lack the words to talk about it, they may demonstrate extremes of behavior or extremes of emotions. And it's very important for us to be aware of the signs of trauma in children so that we can provide them with the help that they need. Well, some of the behaviors we may observe in a child who has experienced trauma include things like they bully others more, or they have violent outbursts of anger, so they might be shouting and fighting and kicking and hitting. They may have declining grades in school. They might just suddenly start doing more poorly at school. They might have poor concentration or have trouble paying attention to things. Sometimes they revert back to a younger behavior, like they start wetting the bed again. They may withdraw socially, where they don't want to be with their family or with their friends. Or they might begin to abuse substances, like start drinking alcohol or sniffing glue. But there are also emotional things that will be exhibited when children are going through trauma. Again, they might become very angry and aggressive in what they say or what they do with others. They might become quite anxious, nervous, tense, worried about things all the time. They might start clinging to you or to an adult and just don't want to ever be left alone. They might feel sad or hopeless, or they are depressed, not just for a short while, but for an extended period of time. They might develop a fear of adults, of a specific kind of adult, like a fear of men. They may have nightmares or have trouble sleeping, or they might just totally lack self-confidence. They don't want to try anything anymore. So when we think about these indicators of trauma, we have to be careful not to focus simply on the behavior and label that child as that's a naughty child or that's a problem child, because the naughtiness we're seeing in their behaviors or in their emotions might be hiding much deeper hurts or much deeper needs. These children often need love and acceptance far more than anything else because they are showing the symptoms of a deeper trauma. Now, I've given you a list, and the presence of one or more of these indicators does not necessarily mean that trauma has occurred. But when we see several of these things, it means that some type of intervention may be required. And there's a handout, a PDF that you can take a look at that has a more extensive list of indicators of trauma. Well, what can we do? Once we recognize that a child may be going through trauma, there are some children for whom the trauma is deep and they may require professional counseling. But in many cases, many children just need time to heal. They need a good listening ear, and they need unconditional love from adults that they can trust, like you, like me. And through us, God can administer His love and His healing to the hurts of children who've experienced trauma. In part 2 of this video, we're going to give you some simple ways to help children recover from trauma. Thanks for joining me. For more resources to help you reach, disciple, and empower the next generation, go to the website www.onefor50today.net.